You ever see a room full of the smartest people in the country, sweating bullets, terrified they're about to lose $500 million? That's exactly what I walked into at Mercer Tech 3 years ago. 20 top experts, 3 sleepless days, one massive AI project hanging by a thread and me. Just a janitor, walking through with my mop and bucket, ready to clean up the mess after the geniuses called a night. You know what's funny? Sometimes, it's not the person with the fanciest title who spots the one thing nobody else could see. Simon Walker, Mercer CEO, was pacing the corner like a wolf eyeing the flock. His glare could turn a glacier into a puddle. I kept my head down, but you couldn't ignore the tension in that room. It was so thick you could slice it. The Vanguard project was their pride, their future, and now it looked like a pile of burning cash. Simon didn't yell. He didn't have to. Just stood there and let the silence work like a knife, his voice low and cold. I paid you millions, and this is what I get: a glitch on a screen? No one dared answer. Not even Jason Hartley, head of engineering, who loved nothing more than reminding people he'd gone to Stanford. He just stared at his tablet, hands shaking, while Simon laid down the ultimatum: 3 days to fix it or kiss your careers goodbye. The door slammed behind Simon, and you could feel hope drain out like air from a punctured tire. I slipped out, thinking about how none of them noticed me. Rachel Brooks, night shift cleaner, single mom, nobody. Except in that moment, I caught a glimpse of the whiteboard through the glass wall, just numbers and symbols to most, but to me, it looked off like a song played in the wrong key. My mind did this little double take, an old muscle memory from days I spent at MIT, back when I was going to be somebody, before the accident, before Michael died, and it was just me and Sophia, my little girl. That part of my life felt a world away now. I scrubbed floors for people who'd never guess I once wrote algorithms more complex than anything they were struggling with. But sometimes, you just know when you see something wrong. That's what happened that night. I tried to tell myself it wasn't my place. I was just there to work, pay rent, and get home to Sophia before sunrise. Let the experts be experts. But the idea wouldn't leave me alone. Hours later, the hallway was empty, lights humming, and I passed the conference room again. Something stopped me cold. I stood there, hand gripping the mop, so tight my knuckles hurt. I could hear Michael's voice, as clear as day. "Ratch, you see what nobody else sees. Don't hide from it." So I slipped inside. The whiteboard glared under the overheads. Equations sprawled everywhere, like a battlefield after the fight. I walked up, heart pounding, and there was the tiniest slip, a parameter treated as linear when it should have been nonlinear. Something so basic it felt almost embarrassing. I hesitated, hands trembling, then grabbed the red marker and rewrote the formula, just like I used to do in those long MIT nights when I believed anything was possible. Finished, I stood back, feeling like I just touched the past, like maybe I hadn't lost everything after all. What I didn't know was Simon Walker had been watching the whole time, silent as a shadow at the end of the hall. Next thing I knew, he'd run the numbers, performance had shot up 60%, and the glitch that haunted Mercer for months just vanished. Yeah, that happened. It should have been a triumph. Instead, it kicked off the wildest, most brutal chapter of my life. Next morning, I'm called to the big conference room. They never asked the cleaning staff in, but Simon had me sit right next to him like I belonged there. The experts looked at me like I'd crawled out of the woodwork. Jason Hartley, especially, was boiling. Simon laid it out plain. Rachel Brooks fixed what none of you could. The room went dead quiet. Jason tried to cut me down with that Stanford sneer. "You think you can solve this because you once took a class at MIT? I stared him down, calm as I could, told him the truth. I didn't fix it because of a degree. I fixed it because I could see what you missed. There was this moment, everyone waiting for me to crack, to apologize, maybe beg for approval. But I didn't. Instead, I walked them through my solution, explained it like you'd explain a clogged sink. Some of the junior engineers started nodding along, getting it. Simon backed me up, but Jason, he got mean, said I didn't belong, that I'd embarrass them, and he'd make sure I was out. Let me tell you, that man wasn't bluffing. Suddenly, I was persona non grata. Colleagues who used to nod hello stopped looking me in the eye. Questions in meetings? Ignored. I'd be left off email chains, cut out of every conversation. At night, I'd sit in the empty kitchen, telling myself to hang on for Sophia's sake. Jason cornered me once, made it clear, you either leave or I'll make your life hell. I almost gave up, wrote my resignation letter in the lonely dark, left it on Simon's desk, packed my things before the city even woke. Thought that was it. I'd step out quietly, let Jason have his win, go back to being invisible. But Simon Walker wasn't the kind of man to let things slide. When the project crashed again without my fix, he showed up at my apartment, stood awkwardly by the broken mailbox, asked Sophia's permission to come in, and sat in our little kitchen, humble as could be. He didn't beg, but he was honest. Rachel, Mercer needs you. I need you. I was wrong to let them push you out. Sophia, bless her, looked me in the eye and said, Mom, you always say never give up. Sometimes you need your kid to remind you what you're fighting for. I agreed to come back, but on my terms. No more hiding, no more being quiet just to make them comfortable. When I stepped onto the stage at the next investment conference, all eyes on me, it felt like my entire life led to that moment. I told them the truth, how the best solutions are often the simplest, how bias blinds us, how sometimes you need someone who's been overlooked to spot the answer. Even Jason couldn't tear me down. The room erupted. Investors, colleagues, everyone, finally they saw me. Simon didn't just thank me. He named me senior creative advisor, right in front of the whole company. He made Jason apologize, forced him to admit, out loud, he'd been wrong to doubt me. For once, it felt like justice, like maybe we could finally start to change things, not just at Mercer, but everywhere. Stop valuing people by titles or race or the number of letters after their name, and start seeing what they really bring. But you know what? Happy endings are never so simple. Jason's pride took a hit he couldn't swallow. He swore revenge, and I knew so did Simon. So did Sophia. This was just the beginning of another fight. But for that one night, sitting on our little balcony under the city lights, Sophia asleep on my shoulder, Simon's hand in mine, I believed we'd done something that mattered. And I have to ask you, what would you have done in my shoes? Would you have risked everything just to do what's right, even if no one believed in you at first? Tell me what you think down in the comments. Do you think real talent can come from anywhere, or do you still believe only those with titles deserve a seat at the table? If this story moved you, hit like, share it, and don't forget to subscribe for the next tale. Thanks for listening. See you in the next one.